She was born into tradition, raised in discipline, trained to follow without question. The Kinkou Order taught her balance, patience, restraint. They taught her that true strength came from knowing when not to act. But as she watched innocent people die while her masters meditated on philosophy, she learned a different lesson. Sometimes, balance is just another word for cowardice. This is the story of Akali, the student who questioned, the warrior who rebelled, the assassin who chose action over tradition. Shen taught her to wait. Zed taught her to strike. She learned from both and became something neither could have imagined. In the sacred halls of the Kinkou Order, where spirits walk among mortals and balance is law, a young girl found her calling. Her name was Akali Jomentepi, daughter of Mame Jomentepi, the Kinkou's Fist of Shadow. Her mother was a legend, a warrior who struck from darkness to maintain balance, who killed when necessary, but only when necessary. And young Akali wanted nothing more than to follow in her footsteps. From the moment she could walk, she trained, faster than the other students, harder than anyone expected, more determined than seemed possible for someone so young. While other children played, Akali practiced her strikes. While others rested, she studied the ancient techniques. While others questioned whether they belonged, Akali knew with absolute certainty she was born to be Kinkou. When her mother died defending the order, that certainty only grew stronger. She would honor Mame's legacy. She would become the next Fist of Shadow. She would be perfect. Shen, the Eye of Twilight, became her primary teacher. He saw her potential, her skill, her dedication, but he also saw something that worried him, her impatience. "You fight with passion, Akali," Shen would say, his voice always calm, always measured. But the Kinkou requires more than passion. We require balance. Akali tried. She meditated. She studied the philosophy. She learned the rituals of restraint. But deep down, a question grew, a small voice that whispered doubt. What good was balance if people suffered while you maintained it? The question remained quiet until Noxus invaded. When the black ships filled Ionia's harbors and ironclad soldiers marched through peaceful villages, the Kinkou's response was the same as always. Maintain balance between the spirit and physical realms. Do not interfere in the wars of men. Akali stood in the temple, watching smoke rise from burning villages in the distance, hearing screams carried on the wind, knowing people were dying, and the Kinkou did nothing. "Master Shen," she approached him one evening, barely containing her frustration, "we have the skills to help, the power to protect. Why do we sit here while Ionia bleeds?" Shen's response was patient, understanding, exactly what she expected and exactly what enraged her. "Our duty is to the balance, Akali. If we abandon that to fight in every conflict, who will maintain the harmony between realms? What good is harmony if there's no one left alive to experience it?" The words came out sharper than she intended. Shen didn't rise to her anger. He never did. "I understand your pain, your desire to act, but our path requires us to see beyond immediate suffering to the greater balance." Greater balance. The phrase felt hollow as another village burned. That night, Akali made a choice. She slipped from her quarters and descended the mountain toward the nearest village under Noxian occupation. When she reached the village and saw Noxian soldiers dragging a family from their home, preparing to execute them, all doubt vanished. She moved like smoke, like death itself. 3 soldiers fell before they knew they were under attack. The family stared at her in shock and terror. Akali didn't speak, simply vanished back into the night. The next evening, she did it again. A child separated from parents during a raid, an elder trapped in a burning storehouse, refugees surrounded by bandits. Each mission was small, each save insignificant in the scope of the war, but each person lived because she acted. For weeks, she maintained the double life, obedient student by day, rogue assassin by night, until one mission went wrong. She tracked the Noxian death squad to a farmhouse where a family was hiding, but she arrived too late. The family was already dead, all except a young girl, no more than 8, hiding in a cabinet. The Noxian soldiers were searching the house, moments away from finding her. Akali had a choice: take the girl and run, revealing herself, compromising everything, or stay hidden, let the soldiers find the child, preserve the mission. Balance versus action, philosophy versus life. She grabbed the girl and ran. The chase was brutal, 5 soldiers pursuing through rice fields. Akali fought while protecting a terrified child. She almost died. Would have if not for another rogue fighter who appeared from nowhere and helped her escape. When Akali returned to the temple that night, Shen was waiting. The council had been summoned. Her double life was over. She thought it would be harder, that leaving the only home she'd ever known, abandoning the order her mother died for, walking away from Shen, the closest thing to family she had left, would destroy her. Instead, it felt like breathing for the first time. "I choose my own way," Akali said, her voice steady. She removed the Kinkou ceremonial markings, stripped away the symbols of an order that valued tradition over lives, and walked out of the temple into a world that needed her. Shen didn't try to stop her, didn't argue, simply watched her go with that same calm, measured expression. But as she reached the gates, his voice called out one last time. "You have great skill, Akali, and great passion. I hope you find the path worthy of both. But know this, passion without discipline destroys everything it touches." She didn't look back. And discipline without passion saves nothing. Alone for the first time, Akali had to redefine everything. She wasn't Kinkou anymore, wasn't bound by their rules, wasn't restricted by their philosophy. She could act, fight, kill if necessary, all to protect Ionia. But as the weeks passed, she realized something disturbing. Freedom without purpose was just chaos. The Kinkou had been wrong to sit idle, but they'd been right about one thing. A warrior needed more than anger. She needed a code, not the Kinkou's code, her own. She established simple rules: protect the innocent, punish the guilty. No hesitation, no philosophy, just action. She began to hunt Noxian war criminals, corrupt officials, bandits preying on refugees, anyone who hurt Ionia and thought they could escape justice. Word spread of a rogue assassin, a girl who struck from shadows and left only bodies behind. Some called her a hero, others a vigilante. The Kinkou called her lost. And then, unexpectedly, she encountered Zed. Their first meeting was a fight. She'd tracked a Noxian commander to an abandoned temple, spent days planning the perfect assassination, and arrived to find the target already dead. Zed stood over the body, silver mask gleaming in moonlight. Shadows writhed around him like living things. Akali recognized him instantly. The kinslayer, the traitor, Shen's brother turned enemy. The man who killed Master Kusho. Rage replaced strategy. She attacked without thinking. Her kunai struck where his throat should have been, found only shadow. She fought desperately, using every trick Shen taught her, every technique her mother passed down. She was good, fast, skilled beyond her years, but Zed had decades of experience and forbidden power. When he finally moved with intent, it was over in seconds, his blade at her throat, her body pressed against cold stone, helpless. "You fight like Kinkou," Zed said, his voice distorted by shadow magic, "but you kill like someone who's learned their philosophy is a cage." The blade disappeared. Zed stepped back, released her. Akali grabbed her kunai, ready to strike, but Zed just stood there, watching. "Why aren't you fighting?" she demanded. "Because you're not my enemy," Zed said simply. "Shen is my mirror. You're something else, something new. Don't talk about Shen like you understand him. I understand him better than anyone. I was him, the perfect student, the obedient son, until I realized that following orders while people died wasn't honor. It was cowardice dressed up as virtue." Zed tilted his head. "He cast you out, didn't he? Because you dared to act while Ionia burned. Because you put lives before philosophy. You murdered his father. I freed him from impossible choices. Kusho knew what had to be done. He just couldn't do it himself. So I did it for him." The words were casual, monstrous, completely sincere. "You're insane." "Perhaps, but my order has saved more lives in 5 years than the Kinkou saved in 5 centuries. Ionia still stands because I was willing to do what Shen wouldn't." He turned to leave, paused. "I'm not asking you to join the Order of Shadow, but when you're ready to stop fighting alone, to build something that actually protects Ionia, you know where to find me. I'll never join you." "Good. The world doesn't need another Order of Shadow, but it could use someone who combines Kinkou discipline with the will to act, someone who learned from both of us and rejected both." He vanished into darkness. Akali stood alone with the corpse and her doubts. Zed was a monster, a murderer.
everything she'd been taught to despise. So why did his words make so much sense? She didn't join him, refused to become part of another order, another hierarchy. But she did something unexpected. She started recruiting young fighters disillusioned with the old ways, warriors who wanted to protect Ionia without waiting for permission, rogues like herself. She called them the Fist of Shadow, her mother's title, her mother's legacy. Not Kinkou, not Order of Shadow, something new. They had one rule: protect Ionia. How they did it was up to them. No meditation, no philosophy, just results. Years passed. Akali's network grew. The Fist of Shadow became known throughout Ionia, not as heroes or villains, but as something in between, necessary. They operated in the cracks, the spaces between Kinkou inaction and shadow brutality. A Noxian spy network in Navori, Akali's people dismantled it. A corrupt governor selling refugees to slavers, his body hung from palace gates as a warning. Bandits exploiting Reconstruction chaos, they vanished permanently. The work was never-ending. Each mission revealed 3 more problems. Each victory was temporary. But it mattered. People lived because they acted. The Kinkou rebuilt in their sanctuary, maintaining their sacred balance. The Order of Shadow operated from Zed's temple, striking from darkness. And between them, in the messy middle ground where philosophy met reality, Akali and her Fist of Shadow protected the people both orders claimed to serve. She saw Shen sometimes, from a distance, on moonless nights, standing on opposite cliffs, acknowledging each other without words. Once, after she saved the village from a corrupted spirit, Akali found a package in her safe house. Inside, a set of kunai, perfectly balanced, masterwork quality. No note, but she recognized Shen's craftsmanship. He disapproved of her methods, but he still cared, still wanted her to survive. It was the closest thing to approval she'd ever get. And somehow, it was enough. She crossed paths with Zed occasionally too, never as allies, never as enemies, simply as 2 people who understood that protecting what you love sometimes required terrible things. Once, they found themselves fighting the same Noxian death squad from opposite sides, met in the middle over the bodies. "You've gotten better," Zed observed. "Still fighting alone, though. I have people. Followers aren't the same as equals. Be careful, Akali. The lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. I'm not a wolf, we're a fist, each finger different, but moving together when it matters." Zed nodded slowly. "Your mother would have approved." He vanished before she could respond. One night, after a difficult mission that left 3 of her people dead, Akali sat alone cleaning blood from her kunai. A young recruit approached, barely 16, still idealistic. "Master Akali, how do we know when we're doing the right thing, when we're heroes and not just killers?" Akali considered the question, thought about Shen's teachings, Zed's philosophy, her own journey. "We don't," she finally answered. "The Kinkou thinks they know because they follow ancient rules. Zed thinks he knows because he embraces necessary evil. But the truth, we never really know. Then how do we choose? We act. We accept the consequences. We keep moving forward. And we hope that protecting people matters more than being perfect." The recruit nodded slowly, not satisfied, but understanding. Akali returned to her kunai. She wasn't Kinkou anymore, would never be. She wasn't Order of Shadow, refused to be. She was something else, something new. A rogue who had found her own balance, not between spirit and physical realms, between action and restraint, between the old ways and necessary change. Shen had taught her discipline. Zed had shown her freedom. She'd learned from both, rejected both, and became herself. This was Akali, the student who became the master of her own path, the warrior who found strength in choosing for herself, the assassin who proved that balance wasn't about standing still, it was about knowing when to move. In a world divided between those who won't act and those who act without mercy, she found a third way, her way, and Ionia was better for it.